Okay, yesterday night I recorded the first two paragraphs of this speech because there was a whole problems with electricity yesterday, and it went on and went off. And in any case, and then there was the problems with Zoom before that it cut off. I had to do one class over again. Nevertheless, here we are, Baruch Hashem, and we are now learning the third paragraph in this beautiful speech of the Lubavitcher Rebbe that he gave in 1992 about Breshit. Last week's Torah portion, but it's very relevant to us now. And yesterday, if you remember what it said, that last month, the month of Tishrei, was totally majority devoted to God. And there was all these wonderful holidays we had. On Rosh Hashanah, we coronated God, and on Yom Kippur, we became removed all of our mistakes, right? We became purified in front of God. And on Sukkot, we put on happiness to God, and we believed in God and joy and that. Everything was God. It comes the month of Cheshvan, there's no holidays. No holidays. I mean, there is one holiday, my birthday, but that's not a national holiday. At least national holiday, that's a birth. And really, the fact is that on the day of my birthday, Yerovim ben Nevat, who was like the biggest sinner in the history of the Jewish people. I mean, I don't think he was as big a sinner as JC was, but I mean, he tried. He tried anyway. Excuse me. He tried. So the Yerovim ben Nevat, he was chosen to be the king of the 10 tribes. And he went there and immediately he built two golden calves and he put guards on the border. And he said, people are not going to go back to the holy temple. You don't have to. You can worship the golden calf. And he made everybody sin. And he made up a new holiday. What was the new holiday? On the 15th day of Cheshvan, he made a new holiday. And that's the only holiday that there is in the month. Anyway, the month of Cheshvan has no holidays in it. So it's the most mundane month of the year. So Tishrei is the most holy month of the year, and the month immediately afterwards is the most mundane month of the year. Mundane of the year. And what connects them is the reading in the Torah, Breshit. That connects them. So Rashi explains this word Breshit in several different ways. And usually Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, like I say, he lived about 900 years ago in France. Usually he explains only the simple meaning of the Torah. And over here he says the simple meaning, and he gives all sorts of different meanings. One of them is the Bereshit means that God created the world for the Jews and for the Torah. Another word for Bereshit means that it comes to tell us that God created the world and gave Israel, the land of Israel, to the Jews, and therefore non-Jews have no claim to it because God gave it to the Jews, which for some reason the Israeli government does not use this argument, which this is the best argument of all. And they're starting to use it a little bit. Excuse me. So here we have three reasons already. One reason is, what does the word Breshit mean? God created the world. Another reason that says Breshit is he created the world for the Jews and the Torah. The Torah and the Jews are more important than the world. They were before the world. Another reason is if the non-Jews tell you the land of Israel belongs to them and that we're thieves, you say God gave it to us. He creates the whole world. He creates you too, and God gave it to us. And another reason it says Breshit is just an introduction to the whole creation, the whole entire creation. Rashi brings all four. Says, here is the way God created the world. First day he created the light. Second day he created a firmament. Third day he created dry land, etc. So how do these all fit in together? How do they all fit in together? The simple meaning, God created the world. Another meaning, he created for the Jews in the Torah. He created it against the non-Jews. And he created it in an order, just as an introductory statement to tell us how God created the world. Okay. The explanation is like this. from the language of the rabbis, Breshit, the word Breshit, the simple meaning is that it's, excuse me, it's telling us the purpose of the whole entire creation. The whole entire creation was created for a purpose. Why did God create it? For the sake of the Torah, that the Torah is called Reshit. There's a sentence that says Reshit. And because the Jewish people, which are also called Reshit. So it's understood that the Torah and the Jewish people, they are the first thoughts of God. The thought of the Jewish people was before everything. This is not talking about Shehud Lamaila only because it's Lamaila Miabriya, that the Jewish people are more important, they're more alive than the rest of the creation. It's not fit to say that they're the first of the creation. First seems to be that they're the first in an order, that the creation was created for them, that this indicates on the connection between them, but mainly that this also is, we can see this below, the Jewish people are part of the creation. They are they're just the beginning. They're the beginning, and for them the world was created, but they're not separate from the creation. The Jews are part of the creation. Okay, so this is stressing that what? That the creation is very important, and that the head of it, the beginning of it, is the Jews. It was created for this reason. So on one hand, the Jews are the most important, but on the other hand, they were the ones that made the world be created. It's not that the Jews are alone and God could have sufficed without them. No, both of them are important. It just says that the world was created for the Jews. We'll see what it means for the Jews to fix up. We'll see. Like it's understand from the language Reshit. Reshit means like Reshit Tevuata, the first crops. This refers to the Jewish people. The Jewish people are compared to the first crops of a farmer. This shows that the first is melechatchila, from the beginning. It's not separated from the rest of the crops. It's just the beginning of the crops. It's biyachad, together, kedavar echad. It's one thing. The Jews and the world are one unit, just like the first of the crops are together with the rest of the crops. But afterwards, bocharim bo kareshis tavua. But afterwards, you take the first of the crops and you say all the crops are all together and say, oh, these were the first. These were the first, but it's all one. So the Jewish people, the same thing. The Jewish people are part of the world, but it's just that they are some sort of an essential, more essential part of the world than the rest of the world. We'll see. We can understand this like the Tanya says. And when we say in our prayer, there's a prayer that we say right before we say Shema Yisrael. Ubano b'charta b'kolam v'lashon. In the blessings of Shema, that God, you chose us from all of the other nations. From my house, the hospital is right next to my house. So when soldiers get wounded, they bring them by helicopter. So every time I hear a helicopter, and I just heard one, it means that they're bringing a wounded soldier to the hospital, right? I mean, 99%, that's what it is. And sometimes they also bring people wounded in emergency cases from traffic accidents with the hospital. But generally speaking, okay. The first Rebbe explains in the Tanya, Hashem should protect our soldiers. Mercy, I have mercy. So it says in our prayers, we say that God, you chose us from all of the people. Banu b'charta, you chose us. The Jewish people are the chosen people. Chosen people. Now, what does this mean? We're chosen. Why are we chosen? Why did God choose us? He chose us because of some that we're better than everybody else, we're smarter than everybody else. I mean, if so, then the choice was not made Then the choice was made before. Hashem made us smarter. He made us better. And in fact, we're not smarter. We're not better. We're not smarter. But let's say God chose us for some reason. Chose us for some reason why. So who created that reason? God. So it must be that he chose us to put that reason into us. So why did God choose us to put this reason in? Why? Why did God choose us to be the smartest, to be the most successful, to be the wisest, to be the wisest? Why did he choose us to give this smartness to us and to this wisdom to us? And this, supposing that we are smarter than everybody else, right? Why did he choose? So it must be choosing doesn't mean he chose us because we're smarter or because we're more successful or because we're stronger or because we're more, how do you say, humble, or because of all those qualities, if they do exist, that comes after he chose us. He chose us to give us these qualities. So we have to say that choosing means that he just chose us with no reason. There's no reason why he chose us. He just chose the Jews. Okay, now the question is, why choose anybody at all? Why do you have to choose anybody? Why? Says that's what God decided. That's what God decided. Says Admor Zakin, the first Rebbe in Chabad of Chabad, explains in the book the Tanya, Shabanu b'charta b'kol lashon. This refers to the Jewish body, not our qualities or our nature or our intelligence or our emotions or our humility. That God chose the physical body of the Jewish people. That's the body also that's going to raise in the raising of the dead, which is similar, which is similar physically, legufi almost olam, to the non-Jews. Shekein bechira, because choosing, true choice, is only relevant when there's two things that are equal one to the other. It's something that you want. Which car do you choose? Which car do you choose? Well, give me some. Which one is which cheaper? Which is easier to maintain? That's not called choosing anymore. True choosing is true choosing. Okay, and maybe in English that's called choosing, but that's not really called choosing. True choosing means that two things are totally equal, and you say, you know what, I'll take that one. Instead of flipping a coin, I'll take that one. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. I'll just take that one. Very hard to find a real example of true choosing in the physical world. But they have no equal sides. It has to be that they're totally equal. They are found if the two things are found in two different places, there's some reason for choosing one over the other, then it's not really relevant, it's not really proper to say choosing. Because it depends on what I want. Right? I like the color blue, so I'll pick blue. It has to be both cars are blue, both cars are the same price. Which one do you choose? I don't know. I could flip a coin. No coins. There's no coins. I haven't got a coin. Want to flip a $10 bill? You can't flip it that. Right? You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll take that one. Why are you taking that one? There's no reason. You just finished telling me that they're both equal. So I just chose that one. That's called choosing. That's a true example of choosing. If there is, because the thing that you're choosing is a better place or it's a more, then that's not really called true choosing. Okay, but Bechira, so God choosing the Jewish people, he didn't choose the Jewish people because we have a different soul. He chose our bodies. What does this mean? That a person chooses one or the other. It's not because of any reason. It's only because that's what I chose. If he chooses one thing for a reason, then this is not really true choosing. Bechira chavshi is free choice. Because a tam poil, because the reason, logic is tilting your choice, and in a way it's forcing you to choose one or the other. True choosing means kasher ein bo shum tam, there's no logic between it whatsoever. Bechirato is only because of kachu rotza, that's what he wants. Okay, now here we're talking about God choosing. God choosing. And therefore, bechira emitit, true choosing, shaychad is only relevant when we're talking about God choosing the Jewish body, which seems and appears to be exactly the same as non-Jewish bodies. You could take a heart transplant, you could take a heart from a Jew and put it on a non-Jew, a heart from a non-Jew, put it on a Jew. It's not like taking the heart of a dog and putting it into a cat or something. Our bodies are the same. Why did God choose the Jews over the non-Jews? No reason. Just chose us. Okay, but God promised He's not going to unchoose us. It's not like choosing a car, one or the other, right? The cars are exactly the same price, exactly the same, the quality, everything is exactly the same. Okay, it doesn't make any difference, so I'll choose this one. So it says, okay, you know what? Maybe don't choose this one. Choose the other one. Okay, it didn't make any difference. No, that doesn't work that way with the Jews. When God chose the Jews, He chose the Jews from His essence. And God promised He will not unchoose them. That's what it says in Isaiah and all the other prophecies. It says in the Torah that God will never change us. We just learned it a couple of weeks ago. Atem Netzavim. Kasher medubar. God, that's the brit that God made with us, the covenant. He made a covenant that He's never going to leave us. Why does He have to make a covenant? And because God said that, listen, I just chose you. There was no real reason behind it. So you might think I can in 1 second just unchoose you because there's no real reason. God says, I made a covenant. I'm never going to. Nevertheless, God chose the Jews. Now, the point that we're talking about here is that it's not logical. It's above sense. It's above any reason. Kasher medubar al nishmas, when it's talking about the souls of the Jews, then it's not really relevant to say that God chose us. Shari and neshama Yehudi, the soul of a Jew, it's called the chilek elokal mimal mamash. Remember, we just learned about that. This is called the godly soul. As ein shum dimion, the non-Jews haven't got this at all. Whoa. Helicopters are flying more and more. Maybe it's the same one going back. So ein matim al zeh lashon bechira. It's not relevant choosing. Similarly, b'chalalos in general, kasher medubar al bnei Yisrael, when it's talking about the Jewish people as they are found above in the upper worlds, they're above any the non-Jews, the Jewish people, the soul, the level of love. That's what King Solomon wrote about, different levels of love. It's not relevant to say that God chose us. When we say that we're the wife of God and we're the sons of God, that's not the choosing. That's not choosing. Davka al Gufiu, the only physical body of a Jew, which is found below among the non-Jews, it's similar, totally similar to the non-Jewish body. Then there's the real thing of you chose us. You chose us to be a special people from all the other people. By the way, I think this is a very relevant thing. That's why nowadays they have this DNA test. You know, DNA tests, you become a Jew. It's ridiculous. It's simply ridiculous. It's just a sign that they have no idea what a Jew is. A Jew cannot be determined by DNA testing. You can't have DNA testing. You have a person that was 100 generations of Jews, and the person just marries a non-Jewish woman. All of the DNA that was built up, and this non-Jewish woman, her father was Jewish, and her grandfather was Jewish, and she also comes from a whole line of Jewish couples, right? It just happened to be that her father married a non-Jewish woman. Right? And here we have a person, another person that his whole family from the beginning of time was all non-Jews, and he converted. Now he's a Jew. He's 100% Jew. So what does it mean? How is he a Jew? It says that God chose this person's body. It's Jewish. You cannot detect this by any scientific means who is a Jew. Impossible, right? You can maybe tell the person if he had any Jewish blood in his past. Maybe his father was Jewish, his great-grandfather was Jewish. So the point I'm trying to make is that the Jewishness of a Jew is because God chose that person to be a Jew. The Shulchan Aruch describes how you can legally decide if a person had a legal a conversion according to the Shulchan Aruch, or if the person had a Jewish mother, but a person that doesn't even know that he's a Jew, has no idea that he's a Jew, right? He's a Jew. This is why, because it comes from God's choice. God chose us. And even more, Diuk Lashon Hatanya, that what it says, the physical body of a Jew, the mundane body, which is similar in its physicality to the bodies of non-Jews. So what did God choose? He chose the Jewish bodies. And he chose the Jewish bodies to put a Jewish soul into it. The Jewish soul is different, but the Jewish body is not different. And the reason that he put a Jewish soul into a Jewish body is just pure choice, just pure free choice, no logic behind it. Below guf gashmi nidmat gashmi also, and not a physical body. It didn't. The Rebbe says a mundane, a chomri body. Chomri is like very, very physical, mundane body, which is similar in its physicality, and it doesn't say a chomri also means mundaneness, that it's lower than physical. Lower. It doesn't say just a physical body, which is similar physically to a non-Jew, because a physical body of a Jew is different than the physical body of a non-Jew. Why? Because Jews have the ability to do the commandments, etc., which is made by the kashrus, that a Jew eats kosher food, etc., like that. So the body becomes different of a Jew. A Jew's body is conducive to do the Torah and the commandments. So therefore, that aspect of the Jewish body is not what God chose. God chose that's what the Rebbe says, the mundaneness, the crassness, the physic, the how do you call it? The best word I can think of is it's mundaneness of the body. But it's not true choice, because the Jew, when he eats kosher food, when he does the commandments, it changes his body. It makes him different from a non-Jewish body. But the physical, the mundane body, which is not changed, this is the lowest level of a physical body. I'm hungry, I'm tired, etc. Right? I want things. The lowest mundane common factor between us and even animals, right? But an animal's body looks different. A non-Jew's body looks just like the same thing as a Jewish body. A Jew wants to eat, wants to sleep. Shechomer hu yesod offer. That means the dirt, physical, the mundaneness of the body. Yesoda nivra tachton hakol dashin allowed, like dirt. Everybody tramples on it. Therefore, it is the Jewish physical body. The lowest aspects of a Jew are similar to the non-Jews. Hine alzeh hayobanu b'charta. That's what God chose us. B'chiras HaKodesh Baruch Hu, which is above logic. Listen, it's forbidden to kill a person, any person. You have to have mercy on every person, whether the person is a Jew or he's a non-Jew. I mean, love begins at home. True. So you have more of an obligation to your brothers than others, but nevertheless, yeah. So that what you have to save a person's life. A person is in danger. You have to save his life, right? You're not looking at a person, he's smart or if he's intelligent. Just the fact that he's there, a person. He eats, he's breathing. That's the lowest common denominator in humanity, is that they're human beings and that they want to eat and that they want to sleep and that they want to breathe, right? And that they have the ability to think. If the person has an IQ of 1 or he has an IQ of 150, whatever the highest IQ is, but that doesn't make him more human or less human. Right? The main thing that makes a person human is that he's human. That's the common denominator that the Jews have and the non-Jews have, just that they're people. And that's what God chose. That's what God chose. And therefore, let's see if I'm therefore, and therefore, Bechir Amiti is the true choice which God made to the Jewish people is in the physical, mundane body, which is similar to the mundaneness. And when we're talking about the souls of the Jews, then it's not relevant. This is what we just did, right? That we just did this. Okay. So that's what it means, that God chose us to be a special people from all of the people. You chose us from all of the people. In other words, we're all exactly the same, but God chose us. And if you want to say he chose us to make us different, to make us more able to learn the Torah, but the choosing that God chose us not because of our intelligence or because of our nature or because of anything. It's just that he chose us. Even more, that what the Tanya says, that it's the, what's it? We just did this. Yeah. That's what we just finished. Okay. Loki, and therefore it's not relevant that the stars and the zodiac of the non-Jews Yishalu al could ask on this. Harigam umas olam, the non-Jews, they're also creations of God, just like the Jewish people. And they have to receive food from God, just like all the other people. But until kafisha tanas lu'umazeh, there's halalu of the avodas of halu of the. So it says when the Jewish people were in Egypt, they worshipped idols just like the Egyptians did. If so, how are the Jewish people different from anybody else? It says when the Jews got out of Egypt, so they came to Yam Suf, and it says that the sea didn't split. And the angels said, listen, these Jewish people, they worshipped idols, and the Egyptians worshipped idols. I don't see what's the difference between them. Therefore, it says, God said, I just chose them. I chose the Jewish people in a place where there is a similarity between the Jews and the non-Jews. In this case, they both worship idols. And nevertheless, I chose the Jews for no reason. Moving from this, it's understood. Now, why did God do this? We're going to see in a moment. But one main reason is to show that, like we say in our prayers, Ein Kelokim, there's nothing like our God. The God of the Jews is totally different. When we see that he does big miracles for the Jews, so we see that it's totally not logical. This is a very important thing. Because when, for instance, when there were Saddam Hussein, there was this maniac, Saddam Hussein, and he had these huge, massive missiles that he was shooting at Israel. And they knocked down whole buildings. And there was one, the so-called rabbi, that he said in Bnei Brak, and he said, now there's going to be a Holocaust, and God's going to see, and he's going to punish the sinners, and he's going to this, and the righteous will be alive. Of course, he considered himself to be one of the righteous. And there's going to be chemical warfare and biological warfare. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe screamed for like 3 days in a row that this man is wrong, and you cannot say anything ever bad about the Jewish people. And God's finished punishing the Jewish people. And the Rebbe was right. And God saved everybody. And at that time, I had a Chabad house. I was in a city called Or Yehuda. And I used to speak to the kids, and the children were not religious in the schools. I was in the principal's office, and there was the lecture of the speech from Saddam Hussein. And he was saying, I'm going to destroy all of the sinners, all the Jews, the sinners. And the principal of the school said to me, see, they were translating it. He was speaking in Aramaic and in Arabic, and they were translating it into Hebrew. And he said that I'm going to kill all the Jews, all the sinners, all the Jews are all sinners. They're all kofrim. They're all denier. They all deny him. So she looked at me with a big smile. And she said, see, Rabbi, he says that you're also a non-believer. You're also a non-believer. You're also an apostate. And I said, it's true. Me and you don't believe in what he believes. Oh, she liked that. And that's the fact. It's a fact. But in the end, of course, the Rebbe was right. Israel was the safest place in the world. And God saved all of the Jews in Israel, not just the religious ones, like this person said, and not just the people who agreed with him, but everybody, everyone, even him, even the person that said all these terrible things, he also got saved. Okay, we can say that something like this, we can find in the Jewish people, like it's written in the Torah, that Shlemus, the completion of the Torah, is only when it's put here in the physical world, in a way that the Torah is not up in heaven. The Torah is like a regular book in the library, just like the Jews are regular people in the world. The laws of the Torah, Piskei Dinia Torah, they depend on what human beings say, the rabbis. Until the Torah, Nisav Yoda, the Torah came down into the physical world and is put into physical things and matters of the world. she'ein rov mitzvahs Torah, that is the majority of the Torah. They're all laws, and they're just combinations of letters on the Torah, just like any book in the library, ink on a book, etc. Right? This is in the Tanya. What is it? The fifth chapter. I forget. No. Perek Dalet. I'm sorry. It's the fourth chapter of the Tanya. That is fourth chapter of the Tanya. Okay. Like it says, Tov Srachar Mikol. So when the Torah is found in the world, then it says that the benefit of the Torah is better than the benefit of anything else. Even the Torah, how it is in the physical world, in the world of, how do you say, business, we can see that it's learning the Torah somehow or other is better. And in fact, it's forbidden for non-Jews to learn the Torah. Until, like we said before, like that's the physical body of a Jew. So it's like there's a book in the library. You go into a library, right? You ever been in a library, a big public library, and there's like a million books, and there's one book on it says this book is forbidden for women to read. Right? This book is forbidden for Mexicans. Mexicans are not allowed to read this book. It's ridiculous, right? Mexicans are not allowed to read this book. That's insane. What? Here we have a book that is forbidden for non-Jews to learn. Huh? And non-Jews are allowed to read the Torah and understand it as far as it's relevant to them in their 7 Noahide commandments, which some opinions say that also that refers to all the monetary laws, but all of the other laws about keeping Shabbat and the holidays and then the laws of marriage and things like that, they're not relevant to the non-Jews, and the non-Jews are not allowed to read them. The Torah as it came is just a regular book in the library. Isn't that ridiculous? It's just the same thing as a Jew is different from all the other non-Jews. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. It says, but it's true. God chose us. And the same thing is with the Torah. That the Torah, how it came down into the physical world, still remains holy, which is not the case. The body of a Jew is a regular physical thing, and it's not holy at all. It seems to be, but nevertheless, God chose the Jewish body. He didn't choose the Torah. The Torah is different. The Torah is different than everything else. The letters are different, but a Jew's body is exactly the same as a non-Jew's body. There's no different letters or signs or anything. And the Jewish body, that's really where God chose. That the thought of the Jewish people is before even the Torah. Therefore, the Torah is not a condition of God choosing the Jewish people. Even if all the Jewish people go against, like this person, this rabbi, so-called rabbi in Israel, in Bnei Brak said, that the sinners aren't going to get punished. God chose all the Jews, regardless of what they do, even if they don't know they're Jews. God chose them. Now we're going to talk about this idea of being chosen and what it has to do with the creation. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, there it is.